Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we turn our attention to a crisis unfolding along the world's longest undefended border, a friendship between two nations now pushed to the very brink of collapse. The Alaska Highway, once celebrated as a symbol of unity and cooperation between the United States and Canada, has suddenly become a battleground in a high-stakes political standoff. For days now, American trucks carrying vital supplies to Alaska have been stalled for miles, not by snow or ice, but by a sudden and unexpected political blockade that has caught everyone off guard. In a move that has shocked both sides of the border, Canada has imposed steep new tolls, effectively choking off America's only land route to its northernmost state and leaving many to wonder what comes next. The impact has been immediate and severe. Truckers blindsided by the sudden change, left stranded and uncertain about when or if they'll be able to deliver their cargo. In Alaska, families are watching shelves empty at their local stores, worried about how they'll get the food and supplies they need as the days drag on. Small businesses, already struggling to survive, now face the very real threat of closure as shipments are delayed and customers disappear. This isn't just another trade spat between neighbors. It's a direct threat to a lifeline that has endured through wars, recessions, and decades of partnership. Built in World War II as a joint effort between American and Canadian workers, the Alaska Highway has been Alaska's vital connection to the rest of the nation for generations, a testament to what these two countries can achieve together. Now, that connection feels more personal and more vulnerable than ever before, as families and drivers alike grapple with the uncertainty of what lies ahead. Ottawa's move has sent shockwaves through both countries, sparking outrage, confusion, and a hard question that echoes from Washington to Whitehorse. How did it come to this, and what will it take to restore trust? Tonight, we'll take you inside this escalating standoff, hearing firsthand from stranded truckers, anxious families, and those whose livelihoods hang in the balance. We'll examine what's truly at stake for the future of this unique alliance, and whether the bonds of friendship can withstand this latest test. The Great Northern Standoff is more than just a headline. It's a crisis with real, immediate consequences for millions of people on both sides of the border, from truckers and business owners to families and entire communities. The story of the Alaska Highway is no longer just about connection and cooperation. It's about survival, resilience, and the uncertain future of a partnership that has shaped the North for generations. And as this crisis unfolds, the world is watching, waiting to see what happens next along this frozen frontier. To truly understand the gridlock gripping the border today, we have to rewind the clock to the trade war that set this entire chain of events in motion. It wasn't just a matter of policy. It was a clash of national interests, pride, and economic survival. The U.S. government imposed heavy tariffs on a wide range of Canadian goods, from lumber to steel, all in an effort to shield American industries from foreign competition and to send a message about economic strength. Canada, hit hard by these sudden tariffs, vowed to retaliate. But instead of simply matching tariffs dollar for dollar, Canadian leaders decided to strike where it would hurt the most: the Alaska Highway, America's vital artery to the north. The Northern Sovereignty and Fair Trade Act, quickly passed by British Columbia lawmakers, gave the province the authority to impose massive tolls on U.S. trucks using the highway, a move that was both bold and unprecedented. This wasn't just tit for tat. It was a calculated, precision strike at America's only land route to Alaska, a lifeline for goods, fuel, and food supplies. Practically overnight, digital billboards at the border flashed the shocking new tolls, up to $5,000 per truck, per trip. Truckers and companies were blindsided, forced to recalculate costs and routes on the fly. The message was clear: if the U.S. inflicts economic pain, Canada will squeeze America's most vulnerable supply line, turning a trade dispute into a logistical nightmare. The result? A trade war with a front line not just in government boardrooms or on financial charts, but out on the open road, where every mile now came with a price. The Alaska Highway, once a symbol of cooperation and connection, suddenly became the pressure point in a high-stakes economic standoff, watched by the world. And as the tolls bite deeper, both sides, Truckers, businesses, and families are feeling the squeeze, with no easy resolution in sight. This isn't just politics, it's personal. For thousands of people, the crisis unfolding at the border is not some distant headline, but a daily reality that upends their lives and futures. At the Yukon border, truckers like David Miller from Montana are stranded, their livelihoods on hold. Many have been waiting for days, sleeping in their cabs, uncertain when or if they'll be able to move again. "I have a family to feed. My produce will spoil if I sit here another week," he says, his voice tight with worry. He's not alone. Hundreds of drivers face the same grim reality, watching their cargo and paychecks slip away. In Anchorage, grocery stores scramble for alternatives, but air and sea can't match the volume lost. Shipments arrive late, and shelves that were once full now sit half empty, as store managers juggle dwindling supplies. Prices for basics like milk and bread are already climbing, hitting families hard. Parents worry about how to stretch their budgets, and some are forced to make tough choices at the checkout. Construction projects stall, small businesses face layoffs, and supply chains unravel. The ripple effects reach every corner of the state, from bustling cities to remote villages. 80% of my stock comes up that road, says a Fairbanks hardware store owner. If trucks stop, so do we. His shelves are growing bare, and loyal customers are turning away empty-handed. Even military families and pharmacists are caught in the chaos, with belongings and medicines stuck at the border. Essential supplies, from baby formula to prescription drugs, are delayed, putting vulnerable people at risk. For Alaskans, the highway isn't just a road, it's a lifeline to food, jobs, and family. Communities depend on it for everything from groceries to medical care, and its closure leaves them isolated and anxious. The blockade is an economic siege, and the pain is spreading fast. Local businesses, workers, and families all feel the strain as uncertainty grows with each passing day. The political standoff in Ottawa and Washington is creating real-world consequences for ordinary people. While leaders debate, communities suffer, and the sense of frustration deepens. Every day, the crisis drags on, the human cost grows. The line of trucks at the border gets longer, and the list of families affected gets bigger. The Alaska Highway's closure is more than a policy, it's a threat to daily life. Schools, hospitals, and businesses all feel the impact, and the uncertainty weighs heavily on everyone, and there's no end in sight. For now, Alaskans can only wait, hope, and wonder when relief will finally come. Washington's response was immediate and fierce. The White House condemned Canada's tolls as an illegal act, framing it as a national security threat. Emergency meetings, legal challenges, and even talk of airlifting supplies to Alaska followed. Meanwhile, Ottawa stood firm, calling the tolls a sovereign response to U.S. tariffs. Canadian officials insist the tolls are user fees, not trade barriers, and say the U.S. can end the crisis by lifting tariffs. Both sides are digging in, each claiming the moral and legal high ground. The result, a political stalemate, with neither side willing to blink. The Alaska Highway has become the front line in a battle of wills. This crisis is shocking because it shatters decades of U.S.-Canada cooperation, especially over Alaska. The highway, built in World War II, was a symbol of shared security and prosperity. Past disputes never targeted this vital link, until now. Weaponizing the Alaska Highway turns a trade fight into a humanitarian crisis, something both sides once avoided. For Alaskans, it feels like betrayal. For Canadians, a stand against economic pressure. The fallout goes beyond Alaska, threatening the world's largest trade relationship and key security alliances. When neighbors become rivals, trust erodes, and the damage can last for generations. The partnership that once defined North America is now at risk, and the world is watching to see if it can be repaired. The Alaska Highway was once a monument to North American unity. Built in 1942 by Americans and Canadians, it connected and protected the continent. For decades, it's been a bridge, economically, culturally, and personally. Now, it's a line of division. Every stalled truck and empty shelf is a reminder of broken trust. The tolls are more than fees. They're a political statement, redefining the highway's meaning. What was once a source of pride is now a symbol of anger and resentment. The Alaska Highway's legacy hangs in the balance. Experts agree, Canada's move is a high-stakes gamble. Dr. Evelyn Reed calls it geopolitical hardball, aiming to force the U.S. to back down on tariffs. But if Washington escalates instead, the fallout could be severe and lasting. Targeting Alaska may unite Americans against Canada, risking a national backlash. The strategy is a short, sharp shock, but if the U.S. retaliates, the crisis could spiral. Canada has played its strongest card. The U.S. has many left. The next move from Washington will decide if this is a brief standoff or the start of a long economic war. The stakes, the future of one of the world's closest alliances. Both countries are watching and waiting. The outcome will shape North America for years to come. As the standoff drags on, two paths emerge. One is compromise, quiet diplomacy, mutual concessions, and reopening Alaska's lifeline. The other is escalation, retaliatory measures, deeper economic pain, and lasting resentment. Business leaders urge negotiation, warning that prolonged conflict will only hurt both nations. But if pride wins out, the damage could take a generation to repair. The choice is clear: pragmatism or pride, partnership or rivalry. The world is watching which path the US and Canada will choose. The next days will define the future of their relationship. The Alaska Highway crisis is a stark lesson in how quickly trust can unravel. Empty shelves and stranded trucks are symptoms of a deeper breakdown between two allies. The solution isn't escalation, it's diplomacy. Leaders must step back, listen, and seek compromise for the good of their citizens. The US-Canada relationship is built on more than trade. It's about shared values and history. Preserving it requires courage to de-escalate and rebuild trust. The world is watching, and Alaska is waiting. It's time to clear the highway and restore the friendship that has long defined North America.